We will be starting another George Webb book today. Blackberries matter. Hillary's blackberries may be the heart of the matter. Introduction. This book entitles Blackberries Matter because a key cabal in the U.S. Congress and State Department used encrypted Blackberries for the deployment of dark weapons around the world. This book will tell you a story of the encrypted communications device that Hillary Clinton based her whole career on, BlackBerry. You will see how from her last days in the White House as the First Lady, the BlackBerry has enabled Hillary's NATO CIA cabal to conduct illegal covert warfare from Kosovo to Libya, Syria, Sudan, and Yemen, to conducting the illegal Iran nuclear and weapons deal, to possibly even now with the NATO CIA COVID simulation. You saw Hillary find out live about the death of Libya's Gaddafi from a BlackBerry given to her by Huma Abedin. The illegal NATO CIA overthrow of Libya was captured in full circle with this one photo. The overthrow of Libya was planned and executed and celebrated with this one device. There is a very, very real possibility the same State Department, CIA, NATO cabal has already used these same BlackBerry devices to employ bioweapon SARS-CoV-2 at the October 2019 NATO military games. There is also a very high likelihood these same bioweapons or a more virulent forms are being developed this summer in key swing states and red states that are targeted for destabilization activities. This book examines the evidence, not conspiracy theory. Huma Abedin had 3 positions simultaneously with 3 different entities, while Hillary Clinton's State Department. Huma Abedin was an officer at a corporation named Teneo, which means the hidden hand, with Doug Band, President Clinton's close personal advisor, and Huma Abedin held a position as vice chairwoman of the Clinton Foundation. Huma Abedin maintained a bag of over 50 encrypted Blackberries and illegal email addresses to effect these illegal covert actions. Picture time. Hillary Libya BlackBerry operations. It's going to go in a list like this. I'll read them off in this fashion. Hillary Libya BlackBerry operations. First tier. Initial authorization is for DEA program called Fast and Furious. Barrett sniper rifle is key for military training for expeditionary forces. I can't say that word. Expeditionary force. There, I said it. Operation Zero Footprint adds weapons to be cached in Libya, the next tier. Next tier. Operation Timber Sycamore for toppling Syria. Weapons are moved by Muslim Brotherhood pilots to Amman, Jordan. Next tier. Ukraine Maiden Square Sniper and Dnepropetrovsk actions. Crimea invasion triggers U.S. Congress money for Ukraine. USAID money laundering schemes. Next tier. Iran nuclear deal and weapons annex is negotiated with Iranians and Russians. Next tier. CIA and MI6 used Blackberries for Crossfire Hurricane, attempted lures, and Trump coups for informants, ACONUS lures. And ACONUS stands for Outside of the Continental United States Lures. And they're basically spy whores that try to entrap people. And for the ones they use in the country are called CONUS lures. Coincidentally, you will see how the author found a similar bag of encrypted Blackberries at the house of a longtime advisor for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, chairwoman of the DNC, Democratic National Convention, at the time of the DNC's email hoax. Were the Blackberries used to manage the movement of black weapons like bioweapons? You will see from the evidence that bioweapons like cholera and chemical weapons like anthrax were used by military cabal, used by a military cabal formed by NATO and CIA for use in Libya, Syria, Sudan, and Yemen. Hillary's Blackberries. And this goes on the same tier scale as what we were doing before, and I'll name them off. Hillary's Blackberries. Tier 1. State Department, Houmet Abedin, Victoria Nuland. Below that, Teneo, the Hidden Hand. Doug Band, Houmet Abedin, Jeff Epstein. Below that, U.S. House, Nancy Pelosi's Adam Schiff, Imran Awan, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Tier below that, U.S. Senate, Joe Biden, John McCain, David Kramer. Global Osprey. Sid Blumenthal, General David Grange. Below that, KKR, Henry Kissinger, David Petraeus. You will also see the key communications device for these covert actions was the NATO State Department Blackberries of Hillary Clinton fame. You will also see the NATO State Department Blackberries were used for the Iran nuclear deal. Read this short book and you will hear the evidence. For 4 years I have been hunting this cabal for the 150,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel before it was shut down in July of 2020 with 4,000 videos destroyed. My channel had a huge number of contributors that did research and fact-checking on a daily basis. The intelligence produced after 4 years is well worth the quick read. From the beginning of the George Webb YouTube channel 4 years ago, we started the group that formed the world's dark weapons cabal. We stated the group that formed the world's dark weapons cabal had a center of gravity in NATO, diverting U.S. money sent from the U.S. Congress sent to NATO to fight terrorism for completely illegal and unauthorized expeditionary wars of conquest for oil, gas, and minerals. Blackberries matter. They are at the heart of the conspiracy. To top any cabal, you have to expose the network. The quickest way to stop a coup is to expose the communications network. That is why I went after Hillary's Blackberries. That's why Blackberries matter. State Department NATO Blackberries that coordinate Libya and Syria covert actions with NATO's Carl Bildt were repurposed for machinations with Ukraine, the Iran nuclear deal, covering up Hillary's email server, and orchestrating Trump DNC email lures and coup attempts. Forward. Blackberries Matter is a truth response to a contrived race war by the DNC. The reason I wrote Blackberries Matter is to remind the voting public in the United States of the crime and corruption exacted by Hillary Clinton in the DNC in 2016, and to expose the contrived race rhetoric of Black Lives Matter and Antifa in 2020 by the DNC. It is important that you share this book of Blackberries Matter if you find it has the necessary evidence to stop the cabal running the current Trump coup. Wave the book at a Trump motorcade, routes, or wherever you see mainstream and alternative media gather to report on the election. Remind them Hillary's Blackberries matter. Joe Biden will be withdrawn as a candidate at some point. Hillary will be inserted as the president or vice president candidate, or she will be represented by a complete proxy like Susan Rice. You will learn about Joe Biden's very compromised position in this book, and you will hear from a potential whistleblower from his Senate and vice presidential staff. After a 3-hour interview about Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, a 40-year Joe Biden staffer leaves me his Senate BlackBerry. This image is a composite of 2 videos made of the Biden BlackBerry. The filmmaker who owns the original video has chosen to pixelate his version of the Biden BlackBerry. You will see I identify the key evidence, Hillary's Blackberries, and the Pride DNC and DCCC DCCC hard drives. I interview and confirm a key fact witness, Andre Taggart, and I speak with a key multiple-decade advisor to Joe Biden who tells me what the Blackberries were used for and who configured them. Get ready to enjoy Blackberries Matter. That is the Blackberry George Webb came across at Imran Awan's house. Preface. A partial listing of the number of times the DNC used intelligent operatives against the Trump campaign in 2016. FBI DNC email lures to Trump campaign 2016. March 2016. Roger Stone, 20-year FBI informant, Henry Okanywansky. April 2016. George Papadopoulos. Mifsud Putin niece. May 2016. George Papadopoulos. Andrew Downer. June 2016. Trump Tower meeting. Veselnitskaya. July 2016, Guccifer 2, DNC WikiLeaks emails. August 2016, Carter Page Sechin emails. August 2016, Joe Schmidt's Mike Flynn email offer. September 2016, Wikistrat, Joel Zamel Podesta email to Mike Flynn offer. September 2016, Craig Murray, Podesta email offer at American University. 2016, Carter Page Putin meeting offer. October 2016, Gulen kidnapping offer with Mike Flynn. George Webb on site, follow-up for DNC email lures by FBI. Roger Stone, Okanywansky lure, March 2016. Visit Sunny Isles, Florida restaurant where emails lured. Interview Roger Stone multiple times. Interview Roger Stone defense team multiple times. Where Okanywansky got Hank Greenberg's false identity. Winter Park, Florida. Visit Maggot Mile in Boca Raton where Lev Parnas bankrolled Henry Okanywansky. Visit Trump Hotel where FBI placed FBI informants multiple times. Mike Flynn, DNC email lures, summer 2016. The MIS department in Wingley building in Chicago with research partner. Visit Peter Smith office in Ringley building. Visit California Street office of MIS department. Visit Rahm Emanuel Mayor's office. Visit Bill Priestap's FBI office. Visit Mayo Clinic and hotel where Peter Smith died. Mike Flynn, Wikistrat Podesta DNC email lures. Wikistrat office cut out in same building as CNN. Attend all Flynn trials dates in D.C. District. Attend all Flynn trial dates in Virginia District. Attend all Flynn business partners trial dates in Virginia. Interview Mike Flynn Jr. Interview Tony Schaefer, CPAC. Paul Manafort, DNC email lures, and Black Ledger. Attend all Manafort DC trial dates. Visit all Natalia Sova safe houses. Visit Russian Retreat, New York. Visit Retreat, Maryland. Visit Russian Retreat, Maryland. Visit Ukrainian Embassy many times. Visit Podesta Group many times. Sue DNC Hillary for America. Okay, next tier. Sue DNC Hillary email. Sue DNC Hillary for America and Podesta Group for discovery of DNC emails. 12 motions filed. File initial complaint. File amended complaint. Case mooted by Comtras? I don't know. Sure. Sue FBI for DNC emails, the next tier, and goes along with that. File initial complaint. File amend complaint. 9 motions filed. Case mooted by Contreras. Sue CIA for stroke records. File initial complaint. File amended complaint. 5 motions filed. Case mooted by Contreras. Partial list of George Webb on-site follow-ups to DNC email lures by FBI. Chapter 1. Trump coups are being done by the same people that did the Libya coup, and Syria, Sudan, Yemen, and the Iran nuclear deal. As American citizens, we have seen one spy group after another launched against candidate Trump and President Trump over the last 4 years. We saw FBI trap after FBI trap during the 2016 president campaign, dangling the hacked DNC emails to numerous people in the Trump campaign. We endured Roger Stone being offered Hillary DNC emails by a 20-year FBI informant named Henry Okanywansky in Sunny Isles, Florida, in March 2016. Of course, we all witnessed the Mueller raid on El Chapo, the Mueller's raid on El Chapo on Roger Stone's house in Sunny Isles 2 years later with CNN in tow. I also attended every day of the Roger Stone trial to make suggestions to the defense team and offer moral support for Roger. Roger later agreed with me that his defense team blew it by not calling the key WikiLeaks witness Margaret Ratner. Finally, after 2 years of having the sword of Damocles suspended over his head, Trump commuted Roger Stone's process crime sentence. Henry Okanywansky, a 2-decade FBI informant, was provided the false information name of Henry Greenberg to make the Hillary DNC emails to Roger Stone. Henry Okanywansky, a 2-decade FBI informant, was provided the false informant name of Henry Greenberg to make the Hillary DNC email offer to Roger Stone. Most of the viewers of my YouTube channel with 105,000 subscribers saw the place where these emails were lured in Florida in 2019, and my viewers saw where Henry Okanywansky received his U.S. visa and his false identity for the meeting as well. I will repeat, an FBI informant was the first operative that tried to dangle the Hillary emails to the Trump campaign. The pattern of the FBI using informants to offer the Trump camp Hillary DNC emails was just starting, and that's why Roger Stone was so mercilessly prosecuted. He needed to be silenced about Henry Okanywansky. And I say it that way because his name's Oknyansky. Easier to say Henry Okanywansky. Americans then endured more FBI DNC email dangles by George Papadopoulos in the Trump campaign, culminating in the June 2016 Trump Tower visit of yet 2 more FBI informatives, Natalia Veselnitskaya and Reinat Ahakmetshin, who met Paul Manafort, Jared Kushner, and Donald Trump Jr. Later news emerged that Deputy Director Andrew McCabe and Southern District of New York General Preet Bharara had coached the 2 FBI operatives at the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting, and they both debriefed the 2 Russian FBI informants after the meeting, skulking for incriminating information. Yet another Trump foreign policy advisor, Joseph Schmitz, also miraculously had found Hillary's DNC emails on the dark web through a Chicago businessman named Peter Smith. I went to both the offices of Peter Smith in Chicago and to the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, where he died, looking for leads on how he had come about these DNC emails, but both trials seemed to lead to just one floor above Peter Smith's Peters Smith Wrigley Building address to a DNC cutout called the MIS Department. Peter Smith seemed much more like a guy laundering money for the MIS Department DNC operatives to fill up the Wrigley Building to hack elections than a Republican on dark websites in search of Hillary Clinton's DNC emails. Peter Smith's office at the Wrigley Building was just one floor away from the DNC's cutout called the MIS Department, in what seemed like yet another Guccifer offering Hillary mail. I think the dark web, where Peter Smith found Hillary's emails, was actually a rather well-lit office between Peter Smith's Wrigley Building office and the offices of the DNC cutout. The MIS Department, my ex-cop partner Jenny Moore, aka Task Force, joked they were the MI6 Department, referencing British intelligence. MIS, MI6. FBI. The FBI next arranged for the DNC emails to be leaked to WikiLeaks, possibly through DNC operative Seth Rich, again to be dangled to the Trump campaign through a contrived hacker named Guccifer 2. The murder of Seth Rich added a sensational set of bloodstains to the DNC emails, and DNC staffers later hinted this was to make sure that Trump people knew about the DNC email bait in the trap. Despite the Guccifer 2 media intrigue, having text conversations with a lot of DC alt-right press, including Lee Stranahan at Breitbart, Lee showed me the emails from Guccifer 2 on his phone. The most probable leaker was Vice President Biden's staffer named Warren Flood. Several pundits thought Warren Flood was a fake name and was used to offer this round of Hillary DNC emails to the Trump campaign, observing the CIA's motto of taking territory they don't own through war and flood. DNC watchers have anointed Flood as Frank Gustra's man at the table, referring to mining magnate Frank Gustra, the largest donor to the Clinton Foundation and executive in charge of the land-grabbing Clinton Global Initiative. Here's a picture of Mr. Warren Flood. Warren Flood, Microsoft Corporate Affairs for Detroit. With journalist Lee Stranahan at CrowdStrike headquarters, Vienna, Virginia, May 27, 2017, he showed me Guccifer 2 text message on his phone. They were interlaced with text messages from Steve Bannon. A snake in the grass. The DNC summary spreadsheets Guccifer 2 created bore Warren Flood's name for document creation and document revisions. I would later meet a key 40-year-long Biden staffer that told me DNC encrypted Blackberries were how communications for all these nefarious activities were conducted. After the DNC emails were finally published by WikiLeaks, and after 6 weeks of the FBI dangling them to Trump staffers, the incriminating nature of the hacked DNC emails had been completely depreciated now that the emails were public. Guccifer 2.0. Guccifer 2 had also contacted Roger Stone, since I didn't believe the original Guccifer story, a cover for an FBI hacker named Sabu. I laughed at Guccifer 2 when I heard the name. I even joked with Lee Stranahan, "Are we sure Steve Bannon isn't Guccifer 2? A second set of emails, this time John Podesta's emails, were dangled in front of the Trump team in August through October of 2016. A media spin sensationalized these Podesta emails as well, with former UK diplomat Craig Murray meeting a disgruntled DNC staffer in a parking lot at American University in Washington, D.C. There may be a Trump, but I didn't know. This happened to be the same American university where National Security Advisor Susan Rice had set up shop with a Russian graduate named Maria Butina. Maria Butina had held a series of outrageous parties for Trump campaign staffers, complete with vodka shots from a glass decanter shaped as a Kalashnikov assault rifle, with ice sculptures in the shape of hammer and sickle. Not only were there several Russian and Ukrainian students involved in the compromise operation, but there seemed to be a great degree of state sponsorship with the presence of Susan Rice and the United States intelligence agencies at the university. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence had the Chief of Knowledge Management at the ODNI, David Martin McCormick, working with Butina at American University. Most probably Butina and the Ukrainian students were compiling dossiers on Trump campaign officials they were partying with. My efforts to interview partygoers involved in the parties was thwarted by the D.C. District Court sealing the names of the women and men involved in the operation. My ex-cop research partner and I were successful in finding Butina's apartment and neighbors. Butina's apartment was raided shortly thereafter by the FBI. Convenient. I documented all these dossiers, gathering locations and activities with walk-around videos on my video channel, and unfortunately YouTube is now censoring these videos. After I walked the path at the American University where Craig Murray supposedly received the Podesta emails in a video reenactment, I posted the video to my YouTube channel. Later, in an interview with a channel I was working with at the time, Craig Murray, UK diplomat, who said he received the Podesta emails, did he had seen my reenactment. These books come out a little quick, so there are some mistakes or fumbles here and there. Craig Murray, UK diplomat, who said he received the Podesta emails, had he seen my reenactment of giving the Podestas thumb drive? He was emphatic, saying he had just authorized a thumb drive. He said he did not receive an actual thumb drive by saying, no, by the rubbish bin. Shirley Lashenko, author of Black Ledger and Trump Dossier, with Christopher Steele and his wife, DJ Natsia. So you know what I'm talking about. The FBI dangled the DNC Podesta emails again in August 2016. The FBI had funded a group called NABU, which was an FBI-controlled Ukrainian crime unit in Kiev, Ukraine. In my previous book, 1 Minutes to Midnight, I described how a Ukrainian warlord, Igor Kolomoisky, used Natsia, the wife of the Black Ledger author Lashenko, as a political spokesmodel for Crimea in Ukraine. Also, I discussed how Kolomoisky sent beautiful Ukrainian women to the United States under the tutelage of Nancy Pelosi. 1 Minutes to Midnight was banned after immediately going to the #1 bestseller list and setting record sales in its first 7 days of availability. DNC email administrator Abid Awan was married to one such Ukrainian beauty, but I and my ex-cop investigator partner Jenny Moore could never find Abid or Omar Awan in the scores of trips to Capitol Hill. We never found Abid Awan, beautiful Ukrainian wife, Natalia Sova, either. I guess that's them. NABU released the Black Ledger on behalf of the FBI to smear Paul Manafort, Trump's campaign manager. This falsified Black Ledger document resulted in the firing of Paul Manafort's right Trump's campaign manager, okay. This falsified Black Ledger document was resulted in the firing of Paul Manafort right after the GOP convention. This Black Ledger was a misdirection to cover the looting of the Ukrainian treasury after the CIA overthrow of Ukrainian President Yanukovych. While there is a strong connection from Ukrainian warlord Igor Kolomoisky and Les Wexner of Victoria's Secret for finding Ukrainian models for intelligence operatives, we cannot determine in that is how Natsia, the wife of the Trump Black Ledger, got to be an international techno music DJ sensation. It just appears too coincidental that the wife of the Trump dossier co-author and the Manafort Black Ledger is also married to a Ukrainian warlord, Igor Kolomoisky's spokesmodel for Crimea. Again, the Podesta DNC emails were offered to Trump campaign National Security Advisor Michael Flynn through both Joseph Schmidt's contact in the Trump campaign as well as the Mossad connection Israeli firm called Wikistrat. They formed a hastily thrown together office above CNN near Washington, D.C. George Webb at Wikistrat in 2018. Wikistrat, just a mailbox at the same reception desk as CNN. FBI agent Brian McCulley also was recommending psychiatrists to Mike Flynn's business Flynn Intel Group to provide an assessment of Trump's abilities to hold office, just like the Crossfire Hurricane name the FBI gave their harassment operation on Trump. If you were a Trump family member or a Trump campaign staffer, this was truly a Crossfire Hurricane. Notice, George Webb Swigert retains all rights to this work. This work may not be reproduced or resold and is protected by U.S. copyright law. At the request of some 105,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel, I have put some of the key episodes in the 4-year investigation of the Awan and DNC here at the end of this chapter. Imran Awan had 5,111 illegal logins to the DNC and DCCC servers. In a WikiLeaks email, Nancy Pelosi calls Imran into a meeting saying, "Imran, get in here. No staff." This famous WikiLeaks Pelosi email occurs exactly at the time of the DNC hack on May 12, 2016, and also appears to be the time when money is swept from Bernie Sanders-backed candidates' accounts to Hillary-sponsored candidates. A similar sweep of cash occurs from Bernie Sanders' accounts at DNC to Hillary for America in New York. NATO selects Blackberries SecuSuite to secure its calls. Imran Awan's spy ring is thought to have used encryption technology provided by SOCOM, Special Operations Command in Tampa, Florida, at 2 NATO partner countries. The author has experience with Dmitry Alperovich before he became the chief technology officer at CrowdStrike, the firm that orchestrated the DNC email hacking hoax. The author has personal knowledge. Dmitry Alperovich ported the Open PGP, pretty good privacy, encryption code to the BlackBerry device in early 2000 to 2001. Imran Awan's spy ring used an U.S. congressional email address 123@house.mail.gov to send terabytes from sensitive House committees to Pakistan. A Dropbox moves all files and attachments in emails to the recipient server no matter where the server is located, just by including 123 at mail.house.gov on the blind carbon copy line of House Committee meeting notes. All the top secret attachments are forwarded to the remote server, wherever the server is located. Imran Awan's server mapped to a city in Punjab, Pakistan, to a domain called, unbelievably, crookservers.com. All the congressional proceeding regarding the war on terror, the chase to find Osama bin Laden, House appropriations for the war on terror, and private government contracts for the Afghanistan war would have been forwarded to Imran Awan in Punjab, Pakistan. Imran Awan and his father had a trading number with the Defense Logistics Agency and had interest in the Pakistan Ordnance Factory group of arm manufacturing facilities, as well as a chemical plant in Faisalabad, Pakistan. Awan's Muslim Brotherhood. Libya, Syria, Hezbollah, al-Attar. The Awans maintained relationships with both Muslim Brotherhood and with Hezbollah for access to air support from the Iranian Revolutionary Guard for covert actions. The Muslim Brotherhood has been identified as a funding source for Antifa and Black Lives Matter, as seen in the next chart. Fun little fact, the Muslim Brotherhood was created by the Nazis. Fun little fact. Iran nuclear. Okay, little chart I missed out on. Go after the communications network. Key. The Awan spy ring in Congress had been associated with its pre-9/11 forerunner P-Tech, or Pakistani Tech. Here I am with my research partner, former police officer Jenny Moore, going to FBI P-Tech safe houses in Virginia. I created a series of 6 videos that explain that the Awan spy ring, called the Webb Report, that can now be seen on Brighteon video platform under George Webb. I gotta check that out. DNC operative Muaz Mustafa acted as a go-between two moderate Arabs, but in actual fact were Muslim Brotherhood elements in charge of the movement and distribution of weapons for Syria and Libya. Hillary's encrypted Blackberries seemed to be her magic broom topple governments like Libya around the world. We will discuss in future chapters how these encrypted Blackberries were also used to negotiate CFIUS deals like Uranium One with the oversight of the National Security Agency. Hillary's Blackberries. State Department, Huma Abedin, Victoria Nuland, tier under that. Taneo, The Hidden Hand, Doug Band, Huma Abedin, Jeff Epstein. U.S. House, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, Imran Awan, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. U.S. Senate, Joe Biden, John McCain, David Kramer. Global Osprey, Sid Blumenthal, David Grange, General David Grange, and KKR, Henry Kissinger, David Petraeus. I'm going to call it there. We'll pick this up tomorrow.